Hi, everyone, and welcome to the London Community Week podcast, the show where we spotlight the brilliant minds shaping the future of community building across the UK and beyond. I'm your host, Kate Bova, and if you're part of a startup, nonprofit, or global SaaS company, and you are driven by connection, real impact, and community first thinking, this space is for you. This episode actually is brought to you with the support of our incredible partners, led by Community, Gainsight, Circle, Heyorka, Canva, Bevy, Discourse, and Mansion. Together, they are helping their community industry thrive by providing the tools to grow, engage, and make a real difference at scale. And today I'm excited to introduce you our guest, Anamaria Dorgo. Anamaria is a community builder, experienced designer, and founder of Handle with Brain, where she blends over a decade of expertise in employee experience, learning, and development into innovation solution. She builds thriving communities, design immersive learning experiences, and crafts more human-centered employee journeys. As the creator of L&D Shakers, a global community of 8,000 plus learning development professionals, and host of the Mapping Ties podcast, Anna Maria is deeply committed to fostering collaboration and social learning. Connect with her to share ideas, explore creative projects, or geek out about designing better ways to learn and grow. Anna Maria, welcome. It's such a big pleasure to have you here with us.
Thank you, Kate. It's great to be here.
So let's start with you. Tell us more about your current role and what kinds of projects and communities you are working on these days.
Yes. So I'm a learning and community consultant, and I am working with different types of organizations on projects that deal with internal community building or internal networks or employee resource groups. So internal communities come in different shapes and forms. And I am also, like you already mentioned, still a very much active part of the core team of L&D Shaker. So I am still hands-on involved with a specific community of practice, as I've been for the past 5 years. So I'm both a practitioner as well as a consultant when it comes to
Yeah.
communities of practice and learning communities.
Yeah, wow. Anna Maria, how did your journey started into learning, development, community building begin? Was it something that you planned or it's
Mm.
more by chance, something accidental?
Mm. Maybe a bit of both, I think. The intentional part was the fact that I have learned about communities of practice in particular during my master's in human resources, and I decided to write my master thesis on communities of practice in academia. So that was kind of like my preparation into theory and what this concept means. And then I kind of went along and did my work and kind of stray away from that and
Yeah.
found communities back a few years back when I started L&D Shakers, and then I started building them at work. I worked at Butter as a head of community, and now I consult. So yeah, in not planned, the intentionally to learn more about them, not planned to work with them. That kind of just stumbled into my life. A
Mm-hmm.
beautiful accident.
Yeah, yeah, I love this story because was I saw a lot of guys who are now deeply involved into community stuff, community things, community management. It's something accidental, and you can't plan it, but world is know something, and the universe knows something about you and about your mission. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And now you are a founder of Handle with Brain and the creator of L&D Shakers. And what actually motivates you? What's been one of the most rewarding parts of building these communities for you?
I my motivation changed throughout the past years. I at the moment, and I really love I think the diversity that community work brings into my
Yeah.
life. So I get to communities usually attract people from all over the world. So I have friends all over the world now. I can travel anywhere in the world, and all I have to do is put a message in the communities I'm part of, and immediately there's someone that takes me on a tour, invites me to dinner, or just has time to grab a coffee and hang out with me. I love the creativity that kind of takes shape in community spaces, and also the creativity that I get to bring into my work, the impact that this work has on myself, but also particularly the impact that I see in other people's growth and confidence, like the
Mm.
people I work with on every day, the members, the core team. So it's just a beautiful way to see us progress together and become more confident and bolder in our approaches. Um, and my absolute favorite thing is the fact that we all in community, you can come together to create something that we would otherwise maybe
Yeah.
struggle to do by ourselves, like alone. So it's just a bigger impact that we're having.
Wow, it's wonderful reflection, because when you do positive impact into different guys, into different cultures, because you have a
Mm.
lot of different participants. It's from the one side, it's 8,000 plus. It's a
Mm.
lot actually, guys from all over the world, and you can impact through one person. One person can impact for big groups, and it's a big positive changes. So it's
Mm.
a big journey. It's a big work, Anna Maria. Actually,
Yes.
yeah, it's
Luckily, I'm not alone, Kate. I'm doing
yes.
this together with almost 70 people in the core team. So
Wow,
that makes it
wow,
obviously easier
wow.
and manageable and doable.
Okay, okay. Can you share with us about your topic in London? Because I will see you offline in London in, I guess, some weeks. And what about will be your topic, your speech, and why do you think it's important to share right now?
Yeah. So I'll be the title of my talk is Stop Throwing Spaghetti at the Wall, Design Purposeful Community Activities.
Wow.
And the whole talk is focused on it's more of a show and tell. I'm going to bring a framework. I'm going to bring that framework to life with my work at Butter. So I'll just talk about the way I design and launch the community at Butter and bring that point across.
Okay, okay. Can you share with us right now some
Mm.
insights, some key takeaways that you hope the audience will live with after your performance?
Yes. So as I said, I'm bringing this kind of very simple yet quite powerful little framework that I have used, and that community builders that are going to be present and joining us in London, they can just take away and steal and use in the experiment with it in their work. It is helping us move from random community activity design into more intentional and strategy aligned community activity design. Central to this framework is this idea that we need to design our community activities, ecosystem programs around expected member behaviors
Okay.
that will bring the member closer to the transformation that the community is promising. So I'm not going to share more about that. It is a way to break down the goals and make sure that whatever the community is doing when members
Mm-hmm.
come together is helping members go the path of that transformation and the journey to reach their goals, which is the reason why they usually join communities. They have a goal in mind, they have a purpose, there's a transformation, they're looking to get something out of it. So how do
Mm-hmm.
we make sure that we design that experience for them?
Mm-hmm. This topic is good for every community manager, yeah, from different fields. It's
Every
like
community
framework for
manager.
every. Mm-hmm.
Correct. You can be working in smaller communities, big communities, inside communities, external communities. It doesn't matter. You can just take the framework and apply it to your context.
Mm-hmm. Great, great. I need to hear this topic because I love frameworks. I like some practices that you can just use in your work and
Mm,
make it simpler, or vice versa, to find something new, to find some new
mm.
questions on new insights, and to build new ecosystem, new something. Yeah, it's great. Thank you for sharing. I'm looking forward for your topic, guys. Buy tickets. It's also we'll see you in London offline. Yeah, and actually coming back to your background, to your projects, can you share with us some challenges that you have now? Maybe you have in focus some big challenge now or some challenges because you have a big communities.
Yeah.
And how do you solve this challenge with by yourself or with your team?
Yeah. I think some challenges that are very present. The way we've built L&D Shakers and the way the community is set up is pretty, I don't want to use the word decentralized, but we have a big core team.
Yeah.
So there's almost 70 people that are bringing the mission forward, and they're creating the opportunity and the learning ecosystem that we've designed for ourselves. So think about all events, mentoring, coaching, podcast, newsletter, all those things. And we also have local hubs. So there's a lot happening across the board. We're tackling challenges like how do we keep unifying and ensuring that just a regular community member, a new member finds out about all of the things that the
Okay.
community is offering. And also, for us, how do we ensure consistency across the board? We work quite independently. I do have to say that this community is free, so we're not getting paid for that. It's a passion project for everyone. And so everyone is kind of matching it inside their life and work and family. And so, how do we ensure as much consistency and bringing the Shakers vibe into all of these
Mm-hmm.
programs, even though we work quite separately and quite independently. Um,
Mm-hmm.
how are we tackling that? We're still in the process of experimenting and working on that. So I can't share a one bullet solution that will solve that for anyone else that has these challenges. But we really try to lean a lot into strategic moments when we come together and documentation, just documenting a lot of the things.
You mentioned about consistency. I know that
Mm.
it's super important for every community doing what you do, and to make people be expected something from your community, from your events, projects, and so on.
Mm.
Maybe you have some advices. What helps you and your team to continue this consistency or to stay consistent in your community journey?
Yes. I think a few things, key moments. The first one, the core, we have these core team roles. So they are
Yeah.
detached from a person. And
Mm-hmm.
we basically, whenever we onboard someone in the role, there is a thorough onboarding process that we go through. It's usually a series of conversations with myself in which we go into what is L&D Shakers, what is the spirit, the core of the community, what are the things that we do, the things that we don't do or try to avoid doing.
Yeah.
And then, as I said, throughout these past 5 years, we've been documenting a lot. So we onboard people into a process. So we just make sure that the way we run the community operationally is aligned. But then in terms of the events, you can bring in your flavor or the project. You can
Okay.
elevate it, you can add elements to it, etc. So you can make it your own
Yeah.
while operationally we stay the same. So a good onboarding, great documentation, clarity in operations and tools and processes we're using. And the third piece is just the touch points. So quarterly meetups, coming together to bring in challenges
Mm-hmm.
and try to solve them
Mm-hmm.
together. And as we do that, we constantly update our documentation and capture our lessons learned and the improvement in processes that we're doing. So I think that's what we have, and obviously we have our values and our rules of engagement, so that
Yeah.
works
Yeah.
for every community
Awesome.
member.
Awesome. Awesome. I love your attitude and your attitude to the role of the team and how you can do big things together, but without plans, without operational things, without
Mm,
back end of doing community. So you can't do great success. And actually,
mm.
about success, you mentioned about different stuff that you are guys doing, about your newsletter, about events, and so on and so on. And I saw a lot of information in LinkedIn, how many things you are doing, and how actually do you measure the success of community, of your community or community of your clients? Because you mentioned about consultancy, so how to measure the success of communities?
So, this is the answer to this question is very different when I talk about L&D shakers or like specific. I think it looks different from community
Yeah,
to community.
you can tell about both of them.
Yes. So in L&D shakers, we do not measure metrics. So all
Hmm.
we look at is, do we offer a valuable, diverse, rich learning ecosystem for our members to create their own adventure? So
Okay.
what we focus on is spreading wide and see what and running a lot of experiments and seeing which ones of the initiatives are gaining traction and we get the best feedback from. So we double down on those and we fold on those experiments where we see that there is no traction. Um,
Hmm.
we also capture a lot of insights and feedback from our members in terms of what is it that they expect to find there and how can we meet those needs. Other than that, we don't look at things like how many people are joining. Like, obviously, you like numbers, you like to see that there's a lot of people that are coming. We care less about the numbers and we care more about the feedback that we get as a result. So, if it doesn't matter if there's 100 people there or if there were seven and they all loved it and it brought that impact. Now, when I do work with my clients, community, Alani Shakers is not attached to an organization. That means we don't
Yeah.
have OKR, strategic strategies, and all that. So it's just a fun playground.
Hmm.
So we
Hmm.
allow ourselves this freedom not to track too much in detail. But obviously, when you launch a community within your organizations or for your clients, for your colleagues, etc., there's always a purpose why you'll do that. There's a lot of time and investment energy that goes into building community, as you know. So my advice is always to anchor the community work very clearly into a why. So, what is the reason we're doing this? What are the goals? Let's specify them as much as possible. And the next step there is to define success. Once you have a why and a goal, we sit together and we clarify what is success. What will that
Yes.
look like in real life? What will we see? And the last
Hmm.
piece to link those two is what do we have to see on a daily basis? How will we know whether we're making progress towards that success? So that's where we pull down the ways of measuring, whether those are numbers, feedback, stories, KPIs, etc. We look at that and we define at the start.
Yeah, yeah, it's so useful because exactly you mentioned about why and deep reason why you're doing community. I think it's the core. It's really the king of a lot of things that you are doing in community, working with clients or working with your members. Because
Mm.
when you don't deeply understand your value of that, your mission to do that, it's hard because metrics you always can add to this metric some numbers, quantity, qualitatives, but when you don't have this pressure, you don't understand why you are doing that. It's hard, I think.
That
Yeah,
number doesn't mean anything, right?
yeah,
If you don't
yeah,
know what you're working towards, like what is the goal, where are we
yeah.
going?
Do you like some resources or tools or some practices that you are using every day in your job, or maybe your team that you are using, and you can recommend us something to check?
Wow, so many things I have to say. There's a lot. But maybe if I were to pick one thing to pass along, and I'm coming from a background of human resources and L&D, so we are relatively used to bringing people together, facilitating workshops, events,
Yeah.
etc. But I know that a lot of my peers that work in community building, they come from different backgrounds, so they may be not very comfortable or confident in facilitating. I always recommend this website that it's called Liberating Structures. These are
Oh, yeah.
facilitative methods that by design will make your event participatory, where members
Hmm.
are inspired and enabled to share and learn from another. And they come with very clear facilitation steps. So you follow the formula, and never once have I used a structure that hasn't worked as intended.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing. It's amazing website. You guys can find a lot of different instruments and to find what you need, what facilitation you need, and you can use all this instrument. Thank you for reminding. It's great. It's a great thing actually. And I want to ask you also about some trends, because you are working a lot with communities and also you're working a lot with L&D. And I didn't ask other speakers about L&D, and it's interesting about trends in L&D sphere and community management sphere, for example, this year or next some years, what you're seeing, what you're looking for.
Mm.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
you can notice something.
So my work is very much centered around communities of learning and communities of practice, where the goal is for members to get better at something, get better at facilitating, get better at being leader, get better at being an engineer,
Yeah.
etc. And so something that I'm very interested in learning more about and reading into and looking into is the leveraging AI chatbots, AI technology to train them on the brain of the community. So usually a community creates, curates a lot of knowledge, a lot of content, a lot of insights in conversations, in events, from podcasts, from the forum, etc. So how do we take all that knowledge and put it into one place, which has a conversational interface, which an AI chatbot has? So you're simply typing in a message, a prompt, and you gain access to the brain of the community. So that is something that I am looking into and be very interested about seeing happening. It's a matter of
Mm-hmm.
access. So how do I
Mm-hmm.
find the insights and the ideas that I need from this community in the fastest moment possible?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Maybe
yeah.
something else, or it's like the main trend that you are seeing now.
So in terms of communities and related to learning, Mm, yeah, this is the newest one. I could go on, but I don't think these are new things. Like
Yeah.
the idea, no matter how big your community is, there's this need of people to go into micro communities and micro spaces and like peer to peer. I see this trend of bringing in or more like a holistic approach to communities, even if your community is goal is to focus more on innovation or to focus on you becoming a better leader. There's this need that is driven by members to talk about what it means to be human, what it means to have so this holistic view of
Mm-hmm.
us as
Mm-hmm.
members, humans with our human needs before our learning needs, for
Yeah.
example. That's also not something that is new, but is definitely something that kind of gets more and more infused into that space. So yeah, I think those are some of the things that I see um, conversations
Mm-hmm.
around or people thinking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, awesome, awesome. To continue this topic for someone just starting out in community building or in L&D sphere, what advices you can give for these guys who are just starting their journey?
Yeah. The if you're just starting to build a community, any community of any sorts, right now, this is valid for now, for tomorrow, for yesterday. I feel the best way to do and embark on that journey is to build a community around a topic that you're very passionate about, or build the community that you need. If you have that freedom, that option. If you don't have that option, then ally yourself and make best friends with people who are deeply passionate about that. You need to burn for the topic in order to build it over time.
Yeah.
And then that's the first thing, and then the other thing is start small and then always trust your intuition. It's good to
Mm.
listen to books,
Wow.
to listen to podcasts and books, but I always tell people we're humans. There's a community builder in each one of us. Trust your intuition, and you're gonna be fine.
Wow. It's so deep. A lot of answers are inside of us already. Yeah, we just need to listen. Thank you. It's brilliant advices. Yeah, thank you for sharing. And I have, I guess, the last one question about the future. If you had to describe your vision for the future of L&D or community management, community building in just three words, what would they be?
Mhm. Three words. Oh my God. The first word that comes to my mind is innovation or creativity. Again,
Mm-hmm.
let's be bold, let's experiment, let's try new things. I'd say let's challenge ourselves every quarter to try out something we haven't done before and just run experiments. So that's the first word. The second word that comes to mind for me is this idea of some form of regeneration. Like, we live on this planet, we live in this world. How do we use communities as regenerative forces, and how do we also create a space that feels regenerative, where members can recharge and can go through different cycles of growth and just actually take a lot of energy as well as bring. So regeneration as a topic I find fascinating. I would love to see that in communities going forward. And maybe the third thing, also linked to we live in a crazy, crazy world, I'd love to see communities or learning generally used for um, real world impact, if you want, or activism. So, how do we use the power of the many to actually
Okay.
make a splash in the world,
Wow.
in the areas that we're in? So, some will have a bigger impact, some will have less. But how do you move away from the community boundaries and spill the goodness into the world? So, innovation, regeneration, and activism, I think.
Wow. Anna Maria, thank you very much. Thank you for your energy, for your passion. You mentioned how it's important, and I saw in your every answer a lot of passion. And I really wish you to do your best, because I see that you really love what you're doing, and it's
Mm.
important. And thank you for inspire me, and thank you for your time being here. And actually, see you in London. See you offline. We'll be here very insightful your topic, because it's amazing, interesting.
I'm looking forward to your topic as well, Kate. It was great to meet you, and I'll see you in London in a few weeks'
Some
time.
weeks, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Great. So thank you, guys. Have a wonderful, amazing day, and see you. Bye bye.